What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. You got Wighty and Munz here today. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good week. Today we have episode 178 of the JuiceBox, which is going to be an outlook into this weekend's UFC 319 event taking place in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. Our main event for this weekend is going to be the Middleweight Championship of the World between challenger Khamzat Chimaev and current champion Dricus du Plessis. The UFC also announced some pretty exciting news this week. They signed a 7-year, $7.7 billion TV deal with Paramount. This is going to be the end of the pay-per-view model for the UFC starting in January 2026. So anyone with a Paramount Plus subscription will be able to watch any UFC event, select events, so probably like we know them now, the numbered UFC events, i.e. UFC 319, will be broadcast nationwide on CBS. This will almost certainly include next year's USA 250th anniversary card, which is set to take place on Saturday, July 4th, on the lawn of the White House as part of the US's 250th birthday celebration. I know I'm pretty excited about both what's in store for the future of the UFC, but also what we're here to talk about today, which is a card that I have personally been waiting a very long time to see. Hopefully, Khamzat achieving his UFC championship destiny. How are you feeling about this one, Munz?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is a card I've been much looking forward to, mainly because of the main event. I'm not a fan of Dricus du Plessis, never have been, so I really want to see him take an L, and this might be the best chance for us to see that. So, hoping for that to happen, hoping to see Hamzat become the Anu, but we'll see. Only time will tell. I'm also interested to see how the UFC is going to pan out with CBS and Paramount Plus and how that's all going to work out. So, very interested in that. And the 250th anniversary of USA, them having the fight on the South Lawn of the White House. Also, very interested to see how that's going to go, how that's going to work out, if they're going to have fans there or not, what's the security protocol going to be. But only time will tell. We got about a year until that happens. So let's focus on the upcoming UFC 319 main card. The first fight that we have on this card is Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. So Tim Elliott's coming into this one with a professional record of 21-13-1. He's 10-8-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a submission win in his last fight. He has 10 wins by finish, 3 KO, TKOs, and 7 submissions. Kai Asakura is coming into this one with a professional record of 21-5-0. He is 0-1 in the UFC, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off a decision loss in his last by the same method that Tim Elliott won his last fight in, which is interesting to note there. It was his UFC debut that he lost, which is his most recent loss that we're seeing there. But he has 16 wins by finish, 13 KOs, TKOs, and 3 submissions. If we look over at the tail of the tape, Kai Asakura is the younger fighter by 7 years. He's 31 years old, Tim Elliott being 38. He also holds the height and the somewhat decent reach advantage there. I think in this one, we're going to see age take its toll. I think Kai Asakura is going to edge out the victory. Tim has been finished 7 of his 13 losses, so there is a chance that Asakura can get it done within the distance. But regardless, I think he's going to take this one either way. What do you think?
I like it, and this is good to hear because you and I didn't talk at all for the first time, probably actually in weeks prior to
Straight
the
up,
pod
yeah.
about who we have. So this is good, a good start. I also think this is going to be Kai Asakura all day long for me. I know in his UFC debut, it was a loss, but obviously important to note for some of the more casual fans that might be watching. To remember that he did make his UFC debut not only in a title fight, but against one of the best flyweights ever in Alexandre Pantoja. So now, in my opinion, he's getting a little bit of a gift of a fight in Tim Elliott. He should be able to take advantage of differing fight styles relatively easily. Tim Elliott hasn't fought since 2023. He's coming into this nearly 40 years old, which is way harder to do fighting at 40 at this weight class than it is in the higher weight classes. It's harder to maintain your edge in the lighter divisions. As you age, you have to rely on your speed way more. Whereas at heavyweight, you can kind of get away for it up until your 40s. When you lose your speed in flyweight and bantamweight, you lose your edge pretty much entirely. And I don't see Tim Elliott coming even close to beating Kai Asakura in this one. I agree with what you said, maybe even inside the distance. I will take Kai Asakura on the money line for call the card. It's minus 300. And then in terms of methods, I do actually give the edge probably toward the knockout victory, which is plus 175 currently on Bet365. I like that line.
It's 300, man. That's crazy, but it makes sense. It does make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Justified.
Yep, definitely. All right, moving on to our next fight here. We have Jared Cannonier versus Michael Page. Jared Cannonier is coming into this one with a professional record of 18-8-0, being 11-8-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a TKO win in his last fight. He does have 13 wins by finish, 11 KO TKOs, and 2 submissions. Michael Page is coming into this one with a professional record of 23-3-0, being 2-1 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, and coming off a decision win in his last fight. He has 16 wins by finish, 13 KO TKOs, and 3 by submission. Looking over at the tail of the tape, Michael Page is the younger fighter by 3 years. At 38 years old, he also holds the significant height and reach advantage over, or sorry, not really significant reach advantage, but he does hold that advantage over Jared Cannonier. It's another Bellator fighter coming into this one. I'm not like too huge on taking Bellator fighters when they're like this soon into the UFC, but he has 3 fights now. He's going into his 4th one. His 3 fights were against pretty top tier fighters in my opinion. You had Kevin Holland, Ian Gary, and Sharabutin Magomedov. So I think he's pretty well experienced at this point now in the UFC. I think we're going to see him take this win against an old man and 41-year-old Jared Cannonier.
I'm very surprised to hear you say that, but I agree on this one as well. These two guys have a combined fighting age of 80 years old, so I'm not going to lie, this fight was a little bit tough for me. It's kind of just pick your poison between like an aging physical freak in Jared Cannonier or take MVP, who's just going to dance around the ring and point his way to victory. For me, like you, I ultimately decided, probably against my better judgment, to go with MVP. I know that Cannonier just knocked out RoboCop. He has a little bit of hype after that fight, but MVP is not going to be in there banging with Cannonier the way that RoboCop was looking for a KO. MVP is going to pick shots from the outside. He's going to dance around the ring relatively annoyingly, and he's going to try and outpoint Cannonier over the course of the 3 rounds. If the power of RoboCop didn't put Cannonier's lights out, MVP is certainly not going to knock out Cannonier. So give me MVP on the money line. It's minus 175, which I think is fair. But then MVP to win by decision, I think, is definitely the best method play. He's definitely not going to get a finish here. Is plus 100. So if you're going to bet MVP, you may as well bet him to do the decision or to win by decision, because to do any other method is not very likely.
Yeah, that's what I have here as well. As he's possibly most likely going to take this one by decision. I can't see him getting a finish over Jared Cannonier.
No.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next fight here. We have Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Geoff Neal's coming into this one with a professional record of 16-6-0, being 8-4-0 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a TKO win in his last fight. He has 12 wins by finish, 10 KO TKOs, and 2 submissions. Carlos Prates is coming into this one with a professional record of 21-7-0, being 4-1-0 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5, coming off a decision loss in his last, but he was on an 11-fight win streak before that. He does have 19 wins by finish, 16 KO TKOs, and 3 submissions. If we look at the tail of the tape for this one, Carlos is the younger fighter by 3 years. He's coming into this one at 31 years old, while also holding the height and reach advantage. I'm sure you can guess where I'm going with this one, who I'm taking here.
I hope so. Are you going Prates? I hope you're going Prates.
I'm sticking with the Brazilians in this one, man. Of course. You know I can't go
right.
against them. It's tough.
Beautiful.
It's tough to go against
I love
them.
to hear. So we're going to be 3 for 3 then. And this one I'm really excited for. I think this is going to be a great feature fight of the night. I think this is probably, I don't know if you agree, but I think this will be one of the more violent ones on the card.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
Very well placed as our feature fight. Should be pretty bloody. I don't know if it'll be the most violent necessarily, because Khamzat could commit like accidental homicide anytime that he steps in the ring, but this one's going to be very bloody. Should be a banger. Geoff Hands of Steel Neal definitely has power in his shots. He looked good against Ian Gary. Arguably fought better from distance against Ian Gary than Prates did, but this is going to be a completely different fight. Ian Gary is a passive counter striker, I think, at best, but this is going to be a war on both sides. Prates, I think, wins this war. In my opinion, he's more versatile. I think both of them, again, can crack shots, but when I envision this fight, I just see it going one way, which is a Carlos Prates KO.
I wasn't looking at the KO, but I was definitely looking at him winning and definitely being the potential to start another win streak for him here. But KO is very interesting. I like it. I like that. The more that you talked about it, I liked it. So
I hope it's a war.
Looking forward to that one. Oh, it definitely will be. Definitely will be.
Prates on the money line, by the way, is minus 250, and then the KO is plus 110, so about even money. But a nice 250 piece for call the card.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I like it. So 3 for 3 so far. Let's see what we got going on here. We have Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. So Lerone Murphy's coming into this one with a professional record of 16-0-1, being 8-0-1 in UFC. 5-0 in his last 5, coming off 5 straight decision wins. He has 7 finishes, all coming by KO TKO. Aaron Pico is coming into this one with a professional record of 13-4-0. He's making his debut in the UFC, 4-1 in his last 5, and is on a 3-fight win streak. He does have 11 wins by finish, 9 KO TKOs, and 2 submissions. If you look over at the tail of the tape, Aaron is a younger fighter by about 6 years. He's 28 years old. Lerone does hold the height and reach advantage in this one, but I'm not making the mistake in taking a Bellator in their debut. Give me Lerone Murphy here, straight to the point.
Perfect. 4 for 4, which hopefully means that we should be 5 for 5. This one was pretty tough for me originally, but I'll keep it short and sweet because you said the same things I probably would have. I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy as an underdog. Same thing. I've learned my lesson this year, taking guys outside of the UFC in their UFC debut. To make matters worse for Pico, he's in the co-main spot on a pay-per-view card. He's a talented fighter, but no one in his resume is anywhere near, at least in my opinion, the skill set of Lerone Murphy. Murphy's never lost in his career. He's got a point to prove. He's going up against the newcomer trying to steal his spot on the co-main. So give me Lerone Murphy on the money line. He's an underdog here, which I think is crazy, plus 150. And then in terms of methods, decision is plus 240, but I also can't really keep my eyes off of the knockout at plus 650. Pico is 13-4 overall in Bellator, and all 4 of his losses have been by finish. He's been knocked out 3 times, and he's been submitted once. So if he loses the fight, I think he's going to get finished. I think that knockout at plus 650 is juicy, but I'm definitely all over the money line at plus 150. I think that's outrageously priced.
We like it. We like it. 4 for 4, and I guarantee we're 5 for 5 coming up here. It's time for the main event of the evening. Yeah, you guessed it. We got Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev here. So Dricus is coming into this one with a professional record of 23-2-0, being 9-0 in the UFC. He's on a 5-fight win streak, of course, and he's coming off a decision win in his last. He has 20 wins by finish, 9 KO TKOs, and 11 submissions. Khamzat Chimaev is coming into this one with a professional record of 14-0, being 8-0 in the UFC. Obviously 5-0 in his last 5, coming off a submission win in his last fight. 12 wins by finish, 6 by each KO, TKO, and submission. If you look over at the tail of the tape, these guys are both 31 years old. They're both about the same height, got about the same reach. Khamzat is about an inch taller. Dricus has about an inch reach advantage there. Absolute banger of a fight. As much as I hate Dricus, he does put on a show. So absolute banger of a fight here that we have. Might even be a contender for fight of the year if Khamzat commits accidental homicide, like you said.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but can't go against my Muslim brother and Khamzat. You already know it. Give me Khamzat Chimaev for this one.
Love it. So we're going to be a perfect 5 for 5 here. Since this fight got announced, I know I get butterflies whenever I think about it. As you know, and as most of our listeners probably know, we both love Khamzat. He's both one of our favorite fighters in the UFC. Personally as well, I don't care for Dricus at all, in the ring at least. Outside of the ring, he's fine. But I feel like I could probably ramble for half an hour on this fight. I just think Khamzat wins dominantly. I think from both camera angles, when he met Dricus this week, Khamzat looked really big compared to Dricus. Dricus still had kind of a lifeless look in his eyes almost hours after when he was signing autographs. Every fight that Khamzat has been in so far in his UFC career, he's taken down his opponent in 54 seconds or less. I see the same thing happening here with Dricus. Khamzat was outside of whatever hotel that was, just play wrestling with DC, and he picked him up and was swinging him around in circles. So I have no doubt that he's going to be able to take down Dricus du Plessis. DC weighs like 7,000 pounds, so should be relatively easy. I don't think once Khamzat grabs a hold of Dricus that it's going to go differently than it does any other time. He's been working with Sam Calavita, Coach Cal from the training lab, so I think he's ready to go 5 rounds here if he needs to. He's in excellent shape, but I think he's only going to need a round, maybe 2, before becoming the middleweight champion of the world here on Saturday night.
Like it, man. I have nothing to disagree about anything that you said there. He's gonna pick him up and ragdoll him, I hope.
I hope so too. Money line is minus 250. And then I really like, since we both agree on it, Khamzat by submission. Since we agree on all 5, maybe we can make that our JuiceBox lock. It's plus 150, so we're getting a nice plus money play there. I think that's a really good best methods play.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I mean, it's most likely gonna happen. He's gonna pick him up, ragdoll him, throw him to the ground, and choke his ass out. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait as well. And then I think I might even sprinkle first round submission as plus 525.
Sprinkle.
Yeah, 6 times your money. I think that's pretty likely. So like 10
Yeah,
bucks on it.
Why not? Why not? All right. Anything else you want to add on here before we head out?
I don't think so. For those that aren't in the Discord, discord.gg/LockCity, I guess. Free Discord. Join up. We drop all of our cheat sheets in there. We have picks from 9 cappers, so on and so forth. You know the deal. You hear it on all the podcasts. All sorts of cheat sheets on Twitter as well. Main Twitter is @_LockCity. Our Juicebox podcast Twitter is @LCJuiceboxPod. Tons of content on both of those on Free Sheet Friday, which is in a couple of days. We'll drop everything that we drop in the Discord. But if you have Discord, if you're Discord savvy, just join up in there. You can get everything every day.
All right. That's everything from us here at Lock City. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the Discord, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.